how will the leaks and the true origin of the leaks impact Europe's energy resilience or reliance?
Well, it's huge. I mean, President Trump warned about that. You are now, Europe has basically, because of Greta Thunberg and a lot of this madness around the Green New Deal, of which they never held the Chinese Communist Party accountable for this, is now totally beholden on Russia and Russian natural gas. And already they're going to have an enormously expensive with inflation and cold winter because of limited resources. What's happened in the last 24 hours is extraordinary. Now, I think there's a lot of accusations around, but there's not a lot of information. So it's something we're monitoring very closely. We actually had Darren Beattie from Revolver on the show last night, and he's more inclined, like Tucker Carlson, to think somehow the American intelligence community may be involved somehow. I don't know if information is out there. There's something very, very, very suspicious about all of it. Just one thing for about to leave. The massive election in Italy, and everybody that believes in freedom for the Chinese people have to understand that this is absolutely critical. There's a couple of books out that say that the CCP has made in Italy, even more than the Czech Republic, have made huge inroads into controlling the political apparatus in Italy like they did in Australia. And that's why I think Giorgia Meloni and others are going to be real fighters against that, to warn against the CCP. Also, I can't underestimate, for everybody in the new federal state and your audience, to get on Getter immediately and be following very closely this election in Brazil with Bolsonaro. Lula is, as Miles tells us, he's a transnational criminal that's been in business with the CCP from day one. It looks like he's ahead in the polls right now. We have no idea how this thing's going to play out. But even the misinformation started. Foreign Policy Magazine has come out and said that Bolsonaro is actually the partner of the CCP, which is a lie. But this election in Brazil, for us trying to stop the advancement of the Chinese Communist Party, particularly off the Eurasian landmass, this election in Brazil is massive. I can't overestimate it enough, or underestimate enough, that people can, particularly on Getter. Getter is the best way to get information on this. And for your audience, it's going to be so there's three things happening. Obviously, the situation in Russia, this situation with the gas pipeline, this could be quite explosive, no pun intended. And people got to follow, particularly who did this, because whoever did it declared war on the German people. OK, declared war on the German people. We got to find out who did it. Number two, the situation in Italy is developing, but this party now is really adamantly opposed to more encroachment by the CCP into the institutions of Italy, and particularly the Vatican. The Vatican's just come out, even as we were on, in a senior prelate in the church in Rome, and said, we're going to keep an eye on the new government, right? Because we're very concerned about the new government's too tough. The last, and this is why Getter is everything to us as a connective tissue, that Getter is going to be doing wall-to-wall coverage on this very important election in Brazil. You have Jason Miller's been there, Matthew Tierman, others. We have many of the Chinese are following it nonstop. People really ought to watch this, because this election in Brazil has major implications for the Chinese people. And so we've got the situation of the great war against the CCP by the freedom fighters is only getting hotter and hotter and hotter. It's going to get hotter after 8 November. And I'm telling you, in the new year, in the new Congress, it's going to get white hot here. So just stay tuned.
Absolutely. And we're so happy to see that the Chinese whistleblower movement started by Mr. Miles Guo is now becoming a global movement to oppose and to take down the Chinese Communist Party. So thank you, Mr. Bannon, for your time. We really appreciate your powerful voice and great insights. So happy to have you, and we look forward to having you next Wednesday. Thank you so much for your time again.
I'm so honored as a time a week, because it's the one time I get to speak directly to not just Lao Beijing, but the new federal state, all the expatriates that have given so much of their lives to fight the CCP, and also to put the CCP on notice. We're going to take you down. You cannot defeat what we've been built up. And I think that's what we really owe Miles Guo. For the first time, someone senior came to that was an entrepreneur and had made money, was prepared to give up all that, his family, everything, to dedicate his life to take down the CCP. And this movement is only growing every day. And as you just saw from the testimony in Congress, congressmen are getting it. And the reason they're getting it, their constituents, the American people are getting it, whether it's in Texas, South Carolina, anywhere in this country. And they're putting the big shots that are in business with the CCP on the spot right there and making them lie to the American people to keep going. So thank you so much. So honored to be on here every week.
This is just the beginning. We'll see you next time. Thank you. Bye-bye.